the clock, the calendar. This is crazy.
And I wanted to show y'all the birth rates. Let's see. See y'all, all these are from 2024, by the way. In order for each country to stabilize or to be stabilized, for them to be considered afloat, for it to not be alarming. I know y'all can't see it because it's cut off, but I'm going to read it out to y'all. At the top is North Africa, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Middle East. North America is the one where you see where the 1.6 is. This is from 2024. You see what I'm saying? Other small states, 2.0. Pacific Island, 3.0. And you see where Africa is, South Asia. Let's keep going because I want y'all to actually look at where the world was just 2 years ago when it comes to just birth rates, right? Even this one. I keep telling y'all these so-called Mexicans that y'all keep trying to invite to the cookout, their birth rates are low. They're just not talking about it. See, in America, a lot of people are considered so-called YT. That number is large, that percentage, that 40 whatever percent, is because a lot of these so-called Mexicans and Hispanics also fit under that so-called white title too. That's why race has nothing to do with it, right? So we can see if we go across the world where we would typically be at most, the rates are a lot higher. There's a few reasons why the rates are higher. Some of those reasons are dark, but when we look at the reasons for these other women, these Asian women, these YT women, these non so-called Black Caribbean women, you see what I'm saying? This is 2024. Trump just sounded the alarm to roll out incentives for birth rates because even here the women aren't reproducing. I seen a YT lady the other day. She's going viral for talking about how a lot of their people are getting sick. And she's trying to blame it on the water. I'm like, nah, y'all been poisoning the water. It's that sun. Them SLOS phenotypes is truly amping up. 1p36 gene is amping up. Every single chromosome that these people are connected to is being depleted because of the sun. Now they're no longer reproducing.
Ionizing radiation. Look up what it does to eukaryotic cells, to your molecular bonds, which were synthetically put together. Look what's going to happen. Look what's happening right now. It's that extreme heat is pushing parts of the world towards the limits of human survival.
Y'all see how a lot of where our people would be is close to 3.4, but all the other countries is 1.8, 1.3, 1.4. So again, I don't know how we're asking or adding these women in on the conversation of matriarchy. I really don't, because they fucking wombs don't work. And matriarchy centers the womb. So I don't really know how and why we're doing that. But you see what I'm saying? When we look across the world, the birth rates are low for specific countries. Even the ones that you see lower are still higher than where these people are mainly at. You see what I'm saying? These people are not reproducing no more. They're struggling with doing that.
Yep.
And I wanted to show y'all this. Why the fuck do these niggas look the same? Why the fuck? Child. I said, why the hell do George Washington look like Elon Musk? And they got these niggas side by side like this. And again,
Ben
if you pay attention, that's his name?
Yeah, that's Ben Franklin, but it don't matter. Eukaryotic cell.
I don't know hell.
You see what I'm saying?
Ben, Abraham Lincoln, whoever. These two niggas look the same, and that's the thing. All the presidents are related to each other except for Donald Trump. Obama is related to Ben Franklin and George Washington, and Trump is not. I keep telling y'all, Obama is a white woman because his mother is white. That's the reason why when our people were, we got a black president, you got a white president. The man is not black, right? His father is neuromelanated. His mother, the carrier of that ovum that was sparked, is white. a so-called black man sparked the pattern of a white woman that is a white child because the pattern is white.
Yeah.
So that's what we got to start understanding. These people don't come from us. And another thing, y'all know there's the show, the Marvel series called Secret Invasion, right? And Secret Invasion shows you they're trying to show you a black man, right? Is the main one that's behind the scenes doing all of it because he used to, you know what I'm saying, with the scrolls and everything. But that man that's in Secret Invasion looks just as mixed as Obama. So that's why I keep telling you, it's not our people selling each other out. It's these hybrids
that look like
us, that they're saying because you're in a patrilineal system that changes. Remember, matriarchy, everything in matriarchy is matrifocal and matrilineal. Everything is passed from grandmother to mother to daughter. But we're no longer in a matriarch because we've subscribed to a patriarch where everything is patriarchal, patrilineal, patrifocal. So whatever the father is in this system is whatever the child is. But that's only according to this system. That's not the way genetics express. That's not natural, right? So we can only tell. It might there could be a question mark on who the father is, but it's never a question mark on who the mother is, right? So everything is supposed to go through the mother, but this system inverts nature. So they're telling you whoever the father is. That's not true. And we talk about that all the time in here with genetics. We actually talk about and explain from embryology all the way up into you being a full grown organism that you are. It stems from your mother's genetics. Even the men, their genetics stem from their mothers. So when people say, so you don't get nothing from your dad, well, he got it from his mother. Right? So that's just something that we just have to understand, y'all. What's something else that we seen? Because, last week we didn't have our phones the whole week. But there was a lot of reading that we did. You see what I'm saying? And that was eye-opening because the patriarchal part of the great cosmic mother really goes in. That shit hits home. That'll make you upset. Reading how patriarchy was actually crafted and put into existence, how everything was taken away from our women across the globe. That's why I say our women are not upset enough about the state of our people, our children, our power, our autonomy that's being snatched away from us, right? So I want to show y'all this lady. I'm going to do a video about her soon. But I want to talk about hypertrichosis too before I skedaddle. But this lady keeps popping up on one of my social media platforms, and they're trying to do a dermaplane campaign. Let me show y'all something. Here she is. This is wild as fuck, by the way. I want that main picture. Damn, I lost it. And they keep talking about Michelle Obama as a man, but I don't. Come on, y'all. That hit. Look, genetics. Who's that big, strong ass? Be for real with me. That's got to be Michael. Okay, that's not Michelle. All right. So that's another thing. These celebrities, these people behind closed doors, is playing multiple roles. And there's already, the people of Chicago already know them specifically, and they went to college together. Both of them are men. You see what I'm saying? Let me take this off because they're flagging me for having it up there.
The same reptilians who ran Rome, Greece, the UK Empire is the same people who's running the United States. Yeah. It's the same thing. These titles do not matter. I promise you they don't. They've had their headquarters all over this planet to push out patriarchy. That's how it is. That's how we're in it so deep right now. So, like they told you that the El Nino, the heat dome that's coming or that's already here, last time it was this strong, 60 million people around the planet were falling unalive. You see what I'm saying? And that was in 1877. It's the same type of radiational wavelength that's coming to the planet right now, that's here right now. These white people, Asian people, Arab people, they're complaining more about the sun than they ever have this lifetime that we've been with them in here. So it's like our people should be really taking this seriously. This is life. This is real life that's happening. And with that happening, our homes should be filled with non-perishable foods and a lot of water. This is the main thing that we need to be having in our home. You see what I'm saying? We should have a lot of seeds, a lot of self-defense tactics, ideas. You see what I'm saying? As a family, y'all should be having uncomfortable discussions with each other. You see what I'm saying? Y'all should be talking about when this situation happens, how we gonna react. This is how we have to do it. Consistently sharpening each other's mental ability to grow and adapt, because we're going to be exposed. Since the fact that 8 million children are going missing, and then you have people on the planet such as my other half and I that are explaining, yo, this is what's happening. This is what's going on. We should change. That's been going on for lots of years. You see what I'm saying? Young Pharaoh, Kalai, all of them. This isn't new. That people are talking about those things. There's many brothers and sisters that have been talking about these type of things since we've been falling. You see what I'm saying? And our people haven't been trying to grasp as a collective that this is taking place, that our children are going missing, that they're getting miseducated, that there's a species here that's trying to slow down the growth and development of matriarchy. So I would just tell my people, like, please learn about yourself, please. You see what I'm saying? Please stack up on these things. This is why we're going to be exposed to something really traumatic. Something traumatic has to be exposed to our eyes before we get back into unison with ourselves. Because all of us that's been speaking, and we've been telling our people, nobody wants to step. Nobody wants to do anything. So the universe now has to tell her son to send more heat to the planet for us to move.
All right, I can't find the picture. It might be because it's a video, and that's why I can't find it. But this is a screenshot. And prior to this screenshot, this lady's face was covered. Okay? Covered in fur. And they used her for a dermaplane commercial. And I keep telling y'all that hypertrichosis is not the same thing as hirsutism. Okay? And there's different types of hypertrichosis as well. There's like 3 different types. One is congenital. One is caused due to taking like medicine. It can happen over so-called time due to unnatural things. But these people, if you give your bosses, these teachers, these ladies, they be working at the front desk, you start giving them, tell them, go a month without dermaplaning and shaving, and I promise you, you'll see the same. If you don't see the animalistic phenotype, you'll see it then. Because this woman's face was wild. I'm talking about straight dog. That's why I say you got bitches and sons of bitches. And we didn't come up with that story. Y'all did. So dog ass genetics, man. And we're letting these people teach our children. Monkey genetics. And we're letting them teach our children. Talking about 10 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Be for real. Why is that even a thing? These nursery rhymes, why are y'all teaching that to children? specifically. The cow jumped over the moon. Why? What's the significance of us telling this? A cow is an unnatural animal. Why are we teaching this to children? So again, we seen a white man come in here today, and he was trying to say something about, that he shares DNA with fungi, with plants, which is wild to me because every plant that's on this planet communicates through the mycelium network. I don't know how you can share more DNA with fungus and not plants, when fungus and plants have a symbiotic relationship in nature, right? So all fungus don't stem from the same origin either, which he didn't answer that question, right? So, I just come on here and I just try to drive it home that we're not the same as these people. We don't stem from the same embryological origin, and our genes don't express to be the same. So at some point or another, we got to start articulating that. I can't find the other one. I'm going to just put this one up here. I'll just have to use this. That evolution was the greatest lie ever told. These people don't come from us, and we need to stop lying to our children because they're telling our children in their schools that we're the monkey. That's what y'all not understanding. They're saying that we're the primate and that this man evolved to be greater than us. That's what we not getting. OMG, how late am I? Well, you're not late at all. You know what I'm saying? We'll post it on YouTube. This one really wasn't too many people in here like that. You see what I'm saying? So you check out the last 2 videos. If you haven't, that's on YouTube. Link is in my bio. We just come in here, especially if we go a week without being in here, they don't put us in the top of the algorithm. We already know that, right? So we got to just start sharing the truth with each other and like standing on it. It can't just be one. Somebody send me a video of somebody else talking, cool. Why you not doing it? Right? I thank you. That sister, you cool. When are you going to start talking? Are you talking to your family? Are you talking to the children? It don't just have to be on this app, right? It don't just have to be on TikTok, but are you talking? Do you have a heart for your people, right? Do you want to see your people be great? Do you want to see your people go back to nature for real?
So you should never stop talking if you even do. Period. You know what I'm saying? Don't talk for a day and be like, I tried, but no.
He said, was the Carrington event also connected with the North Pole? Are you talking about like what's happening at the North Pole with like Greenland and stuff? Like the melting of the caps? The Carrington, go ahead.
I was going to say, yes, it does, because the North Pole is like, the Carrington event happened because the Earth's core slowed down. You see what I'm saying? It's basically what's happening now. Everything on the planet is going to become tropical for a certain period of time. So the Carrington event that happened was how much like solar radiation came on the planet and actually knocked off all the electrical grids. So the same thing that happened with the Carrington event is going to happen now when you see that the Earth's core is slowing down, which means she's allowing more radiation to come in to block and take out all electrical grids. So that's like she was saying, I think she said it too last live, the North Pole is just the pineal gland of Earth.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's blocked off. That ice, it blocks off the top and the bottom of Earth, the north and the south pole of Earth. This is how she's able to breathe.
Yep.
So when the ice, they're telling you, tons and tons of ice is melting per year. You see what I'm saying? Gazillion tons of ice is melting per year because now that the Earth's core has slowed down, she's allowing more radiation inside of her to keep parasites out of her and to allow more magnetic moments within particles to occur within the biosphere. See what I'm saying? It's no longer in the lithosphere and all of that. It's now in the biosphere. You see what I'm saying? This is what we mean when we say UVC radiation is now ground level. The same thing with the Carrington event. UVC radiation was now ground level. There's going to be waves and waves and waves of these people depleting. That's why also they make Cabbage Patch Kids. They made those Cabbage Patch Kids. They made those Cabbage Patch Kids because a lot of their creations were dwindling in numbers. So they had to create a whole new wave of them. And that's why today they're making robots every 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's why we keep saying
to replace them.
Yeah, the Homo floresiensis, habilis, erectus, all those were failed science experiments. And they're saying that the greatest one, is it not fit to the screen? Can y'all see that on the screen? Can y'all see the title? If not, I think everybody phone, like it depend on your phone, man. Like that's what it be. But all those were failed science experiments, by the way. And that's why they're saying that the Homo sapien is basically the greatest, they're basically saying it's the greatest science experiment of them all. It was the one that was able to withstand the longest, but we see that the sun is a timer for that. You see what I'm saying? And they're no longer able to withstand the radiation. So billions of tons, not millions, not hundreds of that, billions of tons of ice melt each year since the 90s.
Yep.
Up until now.
And that's in the North Pole and South Pole. Yeah, that's in the North Pole and South Pole that's happening. It's removing all those ices that's clogging up her breathing, because that's how she's able to expand her magnetic field, is when the North and South Pole aren't clogged up with ice.
So the countries are fighting over Greenland right now because Greenland is about to become green again. It's not finna have ice there no more. They're trying to figure out how to control it, because because everybody is focused on Antarctica, but we already see the truth slowly coming out about Antarctica, especially since they did that World Treaty. What was that? And also in the 90s, I believe, as well. I think that took place in either mid 80s or the 90s with that treaty that they basically came together as all over the world to say that they would keep all the information that came out about Antarctica capped. And the information that they would release about Antarctica was dependent upon what the public knew. So what they're saying is that they take surveys ever so often, right, of what people know about Antarctica, and that influences, or what they think is happening in Antarctica, and that's what influences the information that they put out about Antarctica. That treaty was formed like 4 or 5 decades ago.
Yeah. And the thing is, they wanted us to stay so asleep that when they shifted the Earth 40.4 degrees off its axis, this is what created parts of the mother to be frozen, because there's no movement, there's no magnetism, more electrical impulses but no magnetism. And when the planet itself becomes more electrical, the more frozen it becomes, the less sun that it takes in on inside the planet. So just like our pineal gland makes up different elemental atoms and alkaloids, the same way that Earth, through her pineal gland, this is where creatures, new different animals, plants sprout out of as well. You see what I'm saying? And they didn't want us to know the organisms that are under there, because it would have done something to our eyes, because symbols and different structures of cymatics and sacred geometry is what unlocks our brain, unlocks our energy, unlocks our dormant DNA. So they didn't. This is the reason why they have us surrounded and just in specific places, and they don't want us to go past certain places. They say, oh, you can't go past this place, and that's why they definitely don't want you to go to Antarctica, to anywhere on this planet for real that they classify as inhabitable.
Right. And they tell you that the coastlines they call it the coast. So when they talk about habitable land, they're talking about the mainland. Like, for instance, you know how we talk about that Russia and Alaska are only 2.5 miles apart, essentially. but they're 55 miles apart, mainland to mainland. But what connects them is the Bering Strait. So the Bering Strait is what connects Russia to Alaska, but that's not habitable land. What's habitable for them is 55 miles out. You see what I'm saying? So when we look at the coastlines, you pay attention to all the coastlines are much, like they're larger than what they're actually telling you. The land masses are actually larger than what they're saying. Let me put a visual on the screen because I know, because that's just, if you just go to, what is that? Google, what is that? On the app that's on the phone, what is it called?
Google Maps. Not Google Maps, but it's Apple Maps.
Yeah, Apple Maps. That it actually shows you plain as day. I'm gonna find it though to show you that, because we fighting over land masses, not understanding that the land mass you're fighting over is way greater, way bigger than that. But for instance, let's take this one for example. And you see Australia is right here, right? And they have okay, anyways, the green part is Australia and the rest of the land that is on Earth, right? But you see this blue that surrounds Australia, and this other blue that surrounds that. See, that's the actual land. This is when we're talking about Atlantis and water rising above sea level and dropping down, then rising again and then dropping. Now, this is the reason why we look in history, we can see certain inconsistencies, but we're not locking it as a people as to why it's actually happening. We're too busy lying to each other, talking about America was the first to emerge out of waters, when land does not emerge from fucking water. Things will dip below sea level. It doesn't mean that the land has disappeared. It is just below sea level, right? When this changes again through tectonic processes and what is cyclical, it will not be that the same way. This is the reason why Pangea is actually true. We can see it happening. We can see tectonic processes. It's land being created as we speak right now. We worried about what was first, and Earth just sprouted out 7,000 new islands off of the coast of Japan in 2022. Imagine fighting over this, and Earth is giving you new land every single day. Every single day. And we tell America was first. Explain it to me. Starting with tectonic processes, please. Because the same magnetic, geological forces, cymatic forces, morphogenetic fields, forces have been happening on this planet since the beginning of so-called time, and it has not stopped. This is explained through the Hutton theory. The Hutton theory came out 75 years prior to Darwin's theory. Darwin has already been debunked by his own people. That's what we keep, like, you see what I'm saying? Understanding natural processes is what's gonna take, like, help you gain the consciousness that's actually needed.
Yep, and like she was saying, the darker blue are just land masses. That's why now scientists, you can look up the 8th continent that's being sprouting, that's coming about. It's called Zealandia.
Yep.
And it's right next to Australia, which she's showing right now. So all the dark blue, and you see the outline, those are land masses. The planet is filled with more land that they're telling you. You see what I'm saying? Those are all land masses. So she's going to show you just in a moment what we're talking about. But I see, Brother Branches, you said we seen the moon fall in our dreams, the flagship being, yep, the moon is their flagship to show all other extraterrestrials, and especially our brothers and sisters around the universe, that they've got this planet under lockdown. They got the organic people here under lockdown, under their draconian control. So that is getting removed.
Let me, I don't know. I can't really do it on my end, but it says ancient glacial ice melting out of Alaska's eroding coastline may offer the new northern hemispheres only a glimpse into a pivotal chapter of Earth's climatic history. And what this is actually talking about is Zealandia being the so-called eighth continent. And there's one that actually like straight up says it. I just don't like how TikTok be, you know what I'm saying, making it harder for
the viewer. Let me find it too real quick.
Like, damn. Yeah, maybe I sent it to you. Like, shit feel like it disappeared when we get on here. I promise you it do. Like, what the? We just looked at it yesterday. Here it is. Fuck, man.
Oh, she found it.
Damn, it be so small in the phone you can't see.
Facts.
Zealandia is considered by many geologists to be Earth's hidden eighth continent, a vast landmass nearly the size of Australia, which with about 94% of its 94% of it is lying beneath ocean surface. You see what I'm saying? A part of it is below sea level. You see what I'm saying? Or below Earth's level. So they can't see it, which means they can't study it. So it doesn't exist to them. That doesn't mean that Earth isn't doing what she's doing. This is what we mean by taking what is called so-called YT science and debunking it with your so-called black mind. Like the fuck? Why can't you, if y'all can debunk history, why can't we debunk their science? If you can come on here for 8 to 12 hours a day and try to debunk his history and you're really not even doing that because you don't have the science to structure it, why can't I use science to actually debunk all of it? The same cyclical and tectonic processes have been happening before they got here. And they are still happening whether they're here or not. This is the reason why the ice was capped on Earth's so-called North and South Pole, like he just said, to not allow in these interstellar gases, but they are melting because it is not natural. It is sub-zero technology, right? These people have never existed on this planet without a ozone layer, and that's being depleted and opened up. So now you can see so-called aurora borealis as far down as South Texas. My homegirl in London sends me pictures all the time, bright pink, like highlighter pink skies. Here we get pink, okay? We get pink here. They getting highlighter pink skies with blue. The other day, the clouds was like out of something in Van Gogh. I didn't have the phone. You know I would have took a picture, right? The clouds was blue and green. It was like blue and green radiation. But then you look over to the east and it's this red strip of red. It's wild. I don't know how we're not paying attention to the sky. This shit has never been seen according to these people. We in the homes on the phone drinking and chiefing with each other, making TikTok into a fat ass FaceTime call. And this shit is happening in our skies. And it's meant to power your genetics up while it deteriorates theirs, but you on the phone. Yep. Talking about how America was the first to emerge out of the waters.
Whole time the cosmos is sending you signals all day about what's coming about.
You see what I'm saying? Eighth continent dipping in and out of reality. Electronic energy, electron in and out of reality. That's the reason why they can't really lock in on our mother the way that they want to, because at the base of who she is on a quantum level, that electron only allows you to see it when it wants you to. When it wants to be seen. That's how conscious protons and electrons are. Atoms turn into tissues, turn into cells, which turn into organs, and the organs create organ systems, and those organ systems create the organism. Atoms are at the base of who you are. This is why they can't figure us out. This is the reason why all they can do is observe in a lab, because they can't get into that cell to see. You can't splice nature, neuromelanated nature. And even when it comes to these other natural forms of melanin, like piomelanin, eumelanin, pheomelanin, like what ants and these other animals and stuff have, and other plants, allomelanin, that is not neuromelanin. They can only go so far even with those. You see what I'm saying? It can only tell them so much about the organism itself. They have not cracked the code on plants. They haven't cracked the code on fungi. You see what I'm saying? This is all based off of their observation.
Yeah, that's why we tell you, get the book, Why Darkness Matters, because they would even tell you that most of the studies that's been done on neuromelanin has been done on rats and mice. It hasn't been done in humans or so-called humans. They've been doing all of those neuromelanin experiments on rats and mice. So all the information you're telling me about neuromelanin is from them. And it's synthetic neuromelanin because they're spliced species. So that's why I'm like, okay, like that's why we have to look at knowledge extensively. You see what I'm saying? When you see something, there's more for you to see. There's more to what you currently are seeing. You need to keep searching at different angles of light to make a good discernment decision.
Yeah. Even this, a new statue suddenly appeared on Easter Island that doesn't make sense. And guess where they found it? In the water. And they found more than what they're willing to admit. You have to really read the article and what they're saying. They actually found more than one.
All the things so-called black people have been building on this planet, where do you think they're at?
And these things, these figurines, these statues, guess what? Guess how many tons they are? How is this found in water at the weight that it's at? That's the thing. You see what I'm saying? It's a lot. That's why I have the Google app be fucking cooking. That's the most, I ain't gonna lie, that app be cooking. I don't understand it. You see what I'm saying? They're doing this fucked up shit right here. I don't know if y'all have heard about this. This has been on TikTok too, but this is the actual source for it. Scientists are making sourdough bread from yeast found on a 5,000-year-old mummy. These people's genetics go back 6,000 to 7,000 years old. This organism was already mummified. You see what I'm saying? Prior to their genetics even coming into fruition. So who do you think they're doing that with? Scientists are in the lab fucking playing around with things that we did that to show homage to the person's life. And these scientists, they talking about, well, the scientists aren't saying it. They're fucking making bread out of our shit, man. Bread. And it keeps producing. It keeps producing this yeast, and they keep making the fucking bread.
So what do you think you guys are eating when you're eating these foods? Do you think that these scientists, these chefs are making foods from natural organic foods that's supposed to help you elevate in your consciousness and your body?
Luce, did you mean to be on here?
Nah, my bad, y'all.
Oh, okay, no worries.
Abundance.
I know sometimes whenever the screen, I get it. They making bread. And that's another thing. I was gonna bring up molecular gastronomy because that's how the scientists create the food. That word, okay, so we know what the word molecular means, but gastronomy translates into stomach astronomy. And the amount of, like, when it comes to our microbiome, is very similar to the amount of neurons that's in the brain. Mind you, the brain and the gut is connected by the vagus nerve. Your stomach is essentially your lower brain. They're in science labs trying to find ways to keep you from knowing the truth about yourself, right?
And isn't it crazy that reptilians, after we built the pyramids and stuff like that, they were the only things that weren't mummified inside of the tombs and temples? How come y'all bodies, it was just there and bones were there, but you wasn't mummified like the mother of life, like the brother of life, like even lions? We mummified lions, elephants, but we didn't mummify this reptilian species.
We didn't. There are no mummies, and I mean that actually predate. Like, nah, I'm not gonna deny that they try to mummify and shit, but those are not
mummified by us.
And they weren't mummified with using the same techniques and with the same things. And those mummies are actually breaking down and wearing down. They're not, what is it called? Perfectly embalmed, right? There's a lot of malfunctions, even when it comes to them trying to cosplay us. I was going to say this way earlier in the live too, because I seen there was a brother in the live trying to talk to the white man, talking about yay or gods. We're not gods and goddesses. Notice you've never heard me and Zell say God and goddess, because that's what they called us. Our artifacts, our petroglyphs and hieroglyphs are saying that we called ourselves the natural ones, if we called ourselves anything.
Yep.
It was the natural ones. They were looking at us and they called us God. They called us gods and goddesses. And so they began to portray, and this is the reason why you have an Aphrodite with the white woman. You have an Athena of the white woman. You have these different white gods because these people were trying to mimic us.
Exactly.
They're doing the same thing. That's why I was telling y'all, these people will call the fucking police on and then watch us and try to talk and slang like us, dress like us, but then call the police.
Because that's how their creator is to us.
Yeah.
The way you can know about their creator is you just viewing the behavior of their creation.
Yeah, facts.
You see what I'm saying? Like, their creator is now creating synthetic organisms because he sees that we created organic organisms, and we did it through natural meshing of molecules and DNA with magnetic fields. We didn't do it with genetically splicing a cell and combining that cell with multiple different DNA. See, they want to be like us. They want to live as long as us. They want to be able to live in different bodies and transfer consciousness easy like us, but they can't. This is why they create the eukaryotic organism to put their consciousness in there. Then they create the robot to put the consciousness in there. But you can't do it like us.
Lab-grown brains could one day help reawaken nerve regeneration. Lab-grown brains. Lab-grown brains. So I keep telling y'all, this is a war between biological intelligence and artificial intelligence. That same brother, I don't know if that's an agent or what, because that nigga be pressing us over that AI shit. I don't know what the fuck is up with bro. But he be pressing us, talking about, have we asked AI? Have we tried to get AI to understand? I'm like, if you already don't know the answer, how the fuck are you training AI? I just want to see what you're gonna say. You're constantly in our DMs asking us questions, and you're trying to program AI. They tell me, have you tried to get AI to understand? Have you tried to program AI to understand prokaryotes and eukaryotes?
But not our children, though. But you want AI to know. But you don't want our children to know prokaryotic and eukaryotic differences. But you want AI to know so bad.
And that shit was weird, getting on my nerves, man. I was like, yo, this your last time doing this.
And the thing is, even the octopus, you see what I'm saying? They say the warming seas have triggered the largest population boom in 75 years with octopus. So octopus are having a baby boom amongst all other marine life, but the eukaryotic species is dwindling and declining with birth rates. But octopus, who are natural, are climbing with birth rates. Mm-hmm. So this just shows you that the prokaryotic cell is going to keep moving on through immortality, and then the eukaryotic cell is dwindling. So we shouldn't be living our life with these people.
And when the YT boy was in here talking about the cats, because he was so fascinated, I should have put this on the screen because it literally says study finds cats see humans, and I cats see humans. They're trying to say that cats and humans actually have the same type of brain. And it says research into cat behavior shows that domestic cats regard humans as social peers. They see them the same as them rather than superior. And it says often perceiving their owners as large, awkward kittens. Right? It says far from being aloof or defiant, a cat's appearance and difference stems from a what? A profound interspecies mismatch in social expectations.
Hawk's genes.
A profound interspecies mismatch in social expectations. A interspecies mismatch.
Yep.
And we talk about introgression all the time. A cat has introgress genes. Humans, these other people. Human means animal man. They have DNA and they share a large percentage of DNA with cats. I keep telling y'all that white boy was going viral because he was eating cat food. And it's not, and it's really fucked up because when you look at this man, he looks like Garfield. And I'm not trying to say that just to be funny or to high side him. I'm dead ass. The Garfield, like the orange type coat that he has, this man had orange hair. His beard was growing in the shape of whiskers. It wasn't growing like, you know what I'm saying? Like how beards grow. It was growing outward like whiskers. And this man had red hair. Orange's red hair like Garfield, and he was eating cat food. The Temptations cat food. These people share DNA with cats, and the cats view the owners the same as them.
Yep.
And we not finding that shit suspicious.
The Hox genes, you see what I'm saying? Like, they all have the same template. It's just that to certain genes, which are coding protein genes, turn on to create like, okay, if the cat has a tail, okay, there's genes that's going to turn on, specifically spliceosomes that splice the intron so they can turn on the gene for the cat to create that tail. But those same genes that human has, another gene turns on for them to grow a nose or to grow two arms like that and stand up straight. You see what I'm saying? So they have the same template of genes. Fruit flies, cats, dogs, cows, they're called homeobox genes or Hox genes or hamstring genes, which means crippled genes. You see what I'm saying? These are the genes that they have. And that's how, and these genes are the genes that tell which, how the cells are going to divide up in the body. So when there's mutations that happen from the sun, because the cells hold a short fuse of electrical surges of impulses, now these cells don't, like an extra body part can start to grow. You see what I'm saying? Hypertrichosis, you see what I'm saying? Tails, horns, and like if your body, if it's programmed to be a human and you have the same template as a cow, but then you have a mutation and then you start to grow a tail and then you start to have horns, now it tells me that your genes are not strong enough to mutate on their own. There you have help within your cells to do that. And when the sun is involved, your cells start to mutate and have micro deletions.
Yep. And
that's what's happening.
And those micro deletions are those chromosomal deletions that we be talking about, the SLOS phenotype. I'll put those on the screen later, but not right now because I just got the restriction lifted. Like, and they put in like 3, 4 at a time. They lift one and put 3 more. So I'm going to just give it a second. Right. So neutrino event. This is another thing. November 13th, 1970s, world first observation of a neutrino in a hydrogen bubble chamber. Look at those protein paths over there. Do those not look like Fibonacci coiled, like the ends of our hair that points up towards the sun to biosynthesize information and to turn the neuromelanin into chemical, into a chemical for us to use? I can't even think of the word right now. I'm shook off of the fact that those look like mini Fibonacci's. That looks like the ends of my hair. And those are called proton path. And this is what Baby be talking about if you ever be listening to him with the proton chains. And these neutrino events that take place here, but also take place with the stars and other celestial bodies. You see what I'm saying? Stars coming together, fusion, nuclear fusion, right? Nuclear fission and fusion, binary fusion and fission. The splitting of atoms, the splitting of cells, one unicellular cell splitting itself, making a replication known as the daughter cell. And those two continue to keep splitting into 4. 4 turns into 8. 8 turns into 16. What's the 16 clumps of cells? I'm going to see if anybody been listening. What is the so-called 16 clumps of cells? What does that turn into? Or what is that? What is that called? 3, 2, 1. Nobody. It's the marula, y'all. The marula, the brain.
Everybody thinking about it.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna wait that long. Y'all should have been. You see what I'm saying? No, I'm just playing. I know that it's a lot of new people in here today, so I just, you know what I'm saying. But the marula, one single cell, when it turns into 16 clumps of cells, the brain is already formed. Your body formulates around the brain. Your skin is an extension of the brain, right? Your hair is an extension of your brain, literally. Yeah. Your fingernails, the integumentary system, everything I just named is the integumentary system. Somebody jot it down. Hair, skin, nails makes up the integumentary system, right? Our integumentary system shows that we stem from a different embryological origin than all other people, right? Yeah. There's a Dravidian boy. He's going he's going viral right now because he's asking a really good fucking question. He said, how come I'm darker than so-called black people? But we don't exactly look the same. The questions that they be asking is not wrong. And a lot of them can grasp the science better than we can. That's the sad part. But the way he's explaining is that darker is nothing. It's about what the dark is composed of. Of course, my aunt, she used to travel a lot. She spent a long time in Spain for what is it called? Program, whatever, overseas program, foreign exchange student program. And she was learning over there for 4 years. And she would come back and always tell us how there's so-called Portuguese people over there that are darker than us. But I always knew that something was off about that, right? You can look at these Portuguese, these so-called Spanish, these so-called Dravidians, and they can be darker than us, but they don't have the same texture of skin, right? They can't biosynthesize the sun because it's made up of a different biochemical substance known as melanin, right? Melanin is not one umbrella thing, right? Melanin is not just one broad thing. There are 8 different types of melanin. 5 that are natural and basic to this planet, and 3 that are synthetic. These YT people, these cats, dogs, all these different animals with introgress genes, horses, mules, hamsters, gerbils, these things have vitrosynthetic neuromelanin. Vitrosynthetic pheomelanin and eumelanin are really the main ones, because even with these scientists trying to say that monkeys, hamsters, sheep, goats, and it's one more organism too. Mice. Thank you, baby. Those are the top 5 organisms right there that they're saying doesn't gain neuromelanin until like 2 to 5 years of being on the planet. How do you begin to create something in your brain that wasn't there when you were formed in whatever womb you were formed in? How do you just gain it out of nowhere? How do you just gain neuromelanin at that out of nowhere at ages 2 through 5? Why would we see something like that begin to formulate when you're 3? Why was it not present in embryology? Where would it have come from? If your whole suit is constructed and it's done, it's a constructed suit. How are you having new things coming online in your genetics? And so this is the neuromelanin that they're talking about. Like, oh, all people have neuromelanin. It's just brain melanin. But that brain melanin don't stem from the same origin, and it's not present in embryogenesis.
Yeah. And that's where Ben just said, does moon melanin scientifically exist? Moon melanin is synthetic vitrosynthetic eumelanin, vitrosynthetic pheomelanin, vitrosynthetic neuromelanin. All of those melanin that I've named are lab-made melanins. That is moon melanin, because moon melanin is just antiphotonic melanin, and their DNA is antiphotonic. It absorbs parasites and diseases, and it repels solar radiation. The same thing that the sun does. I mean, not the sun. The same thing that the moon does, because the moon is an electrical, synthetic holographic being. You know what I'm saying? That is meant to trap your soul. It's a soul trapping. It's soul trapping and soul, what's it called? Like it's a way to mislead the soul to make it believe that it's not the light. Like, you see what I'm saying? So when whenever we leave these bodies, these hydrocarbon bodies, and if you went that whole life believing that everything outside of you is the one with the real information, that means that you're dimming your light. So when you're undergoing a process of to come back to the planet or to go to a different part of the cosmos, the way to do that is by understanding that you are the light. But if you already don't know that, you're going to go to the moon where they do traffic our children and where they do hold souls and wipe their memories and put them back here. That's the process that you're gonna take if you don't know that you're the light.
Because religion is telling you to fly into the light.
Yeah.
And that's what he's trying. When he's talking about that holographic field that is emitted, that's an anti-photonic field. This is the reason why our women, they try to say that women are connected to the moon. But think about it, y'all. The moon is on a so-called 30-day cycle, 29.5 days, right? 29 and a half. If you take each of the 8 blood types or 8 antigens known to man, and you actually divide that by the 29 and a half or whatever the fuck it is, it gives you 3.68, which is the 365 days that they're telling you is in a year. So even they talk about the ancient Egyptians that moved off of a 30-day cycle or whatever. That moon has not always appeared. That moon has not always been here. And it sends that photonic energy that our women's wombs see. Their women need menstruation to have children. That's why we kept telling you they weren't even able to reproduce at first. Our people wrote in documentation and petroglyphs, hieroglyphs, even just, I can't even think of what is called that other form of documentation. But even like Shaka Zulu, the Dogon people talked about how the moon has not always been there. Right. And when the moon came, strange things began to happen. Shaka Zulu wrote that. And ever since the moon has been here, a lot of strange things happen. That's why allergies, sicknesses, diseases, so-called crime amps up at night, because these people get powered up under that moonlight. Right. That's why they're always talking about vampires, werewolves. Right. Remember when we had hypertrichosis on the screen? Hypertrichosis is another word for werewolf syndrome. Yeah. Hello? Anybody home? Werewolf syndrome is the same thing. Hypertrichosis is the scientific name for werewolf syndrome. So again, the moon actually helps them. It helps their women menstruate. This is the reason why our cycles at night get crazy. Yeah. Because of that photonic energy that's amping up, right? That moon is not supposed to be here. It's actually a flagship. But I wanted to answer some of. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say another way to know that the moon is falling is to see how these people are becoming sterile. You see what I'm saying? The more sterile these people become, the more you'll see that moon fall. The more these people undergo carcinogenesis and chromosomal deletion, the more you know that moon is getting ready to fall. And like she said, and how our brother and sister branches, they literally said the moon is
a flagship.
It's the flagship. And that's basically when you see these people, these white people, Asian people, Arab people, when they go to new continents and so-called conquer a land and fill it with diseases and shit, they start putting flagships. That's the same thing. This whole planet is the flag is where they put in the flagship at.
Every place that they go to conquer, they stamp a flag there. Yep. Right? When anybody seen Olympus has fallen, or what is it called? Olympus has fallen, London has fallen, and I can't remember the last one, but it's a 3-series movie, and it's talking about basically how America falls, right? And they're infiltrated from the inside out. Somebody turns on somebody, and the whole country gets destabilized. And when the Asians came over here, the first thing they did when they wiped out everybody was they rose the flag and they played the trumpet. So this is how they colonize, and that's how they terrorize, and that's how they do it, right? Soon as a country gets taken over, they put up a new flag, right? But somebody said, do you guys feel that all bottled water is aquamated? All of it besides spring water and distilled water undergoes a different process. Spring water undergoes a different process. The aquamated water that we mainly be talking about is the ones that come out of the sink and the ones that you bathe with.
And I was going to say purified water is also aquamated water. I'm not going to, I'm not gonna deny that there's gonna be traces of aquamated water inside of other bottles of water that they are creating. You see what I'm saying? Because even the bottle of water that they have, the materials that you're using to do that comes from unnatural molecules and synthetic toxins in the first place. So, like, for right now, as long as our people as a collective don't understand the true power of themselves so they can understand the true power of divine wholeness, we can never as a species get everything right in our life. You see what I'm saying? Like, we're still going to have, as long as that's happening, we're still going to have to work. We're still going to have to drink water out of plastic bottles. You see what I'm saying? Because we're collectively subscribing to these things. So that's my answer to that.
It's the sister said, I found out that the 23 chromosomes women shed during conception can form a human on their own. You want to know a book that breaks it down pretty well just in the first chapter of explaining parthenogenesis and the concept of the polar body versus the egg or the totipotent stem cell, the great cosmic mother. Matter of fact, I just want to read that excerpt so that way that it's recorded on here, because Zell is actually reading this book, so it's right here. And it says that among so-called mammals, among even so-called humans, parthenogenesis is not technically impossible. Every female egg contains a polar body with a complete set of chromosomes. The polar body in the egg, if united, could form a daughter embryo. In fact, so-called ovarian cysts are unfertilized eggs that have joined with their polar bodies, been implanted into the ovarian wall, and started to develop there. This is not to say that males aren't a necessary SMEX. Parthenogenesis is a cloning process, smexual reproduction, which enhances the variety of the health of the gene pool, which is necessary for the kind of complex evolution that has produced the human species. The point of being made here is simply that when it comes to the two smexes, one of us has been around a lot longer than the other. This book is really fucking good. I'm talking about the construction of this book, both authors, everything from beginning, middle, end. This chapter, by the way, is titled The First Smex. In the beginning, we were all created female. It talks about in the first couple of sentences what Charles Darwin believed, but then it debunks it. You see what I'm saying? And one of the authors of this book is neuromelanated. She's a woman, right? It talks about the amniotic fluids and how that is connected to, you know what I'm saying, the nourishing space of the divine feminine. You see what I'm saying? Of the waters being the so-called amniotic fluid. But yeah, sis, to answer your question, parthenogenesis is not like they're trying to say that it's never been observed, but it has. This book recorded it. You see what I'm saying? When you look into female sexuality, look into the history of the discovery of how they came about everything from the feminine anatomy. That is their starting point, right? You can look at certain satirical political campaigns where they're making fun of parthenogenesis. If it's not a thing, why would you be making fun of it? Why were what are they called? I forgot that political party, what their name is, but who?
Republican?
Not the Republicans. It's actually a British, the Royalist. It might be the Royal. I can't think, but there's a political party who they used to oftentimes write under alias names and make fun of parthenogenesis and make fun of the feminine anatomy. A lot during the Victorian era. They really didn't fuck with women, even their own, but especially our women, right? So that's parthenogenesis. If you can find it, there's a textbook on parthenogenesis that's free online. There's a volume 1 and 2, study parthenogenesis in bees and ants. These are matriarchal societies. That polar body is really the explanation of the morphogenic field. It really is. That's what actually constructs and pulls the process process together. There's another book that I'm reading. I haven't finished it, but it's called Becoming Clitorate, and it talks about parthenogenesis in there as well. All of your feminine anatomy books will mention parthenogenesis. All of your books about creation history is going to talk about parthenogenesis, because how would the masculine have came about, right? How would they have come about? It couldn't have, what they're saying in religion, it couldn't be that, because Adam and Eve, when they had children, their children would have been siblings, right? So how the hell could it have started from something like that?
Yep. We've never seen in nature a masculine, pull a feminine out of his rib. We've never seen that. We've seen her give life out of her womb through the portal. We've seen her do that.
Right.
Countless times. All men, you have a navel, man. All brothers. Mm-hmm. That's all I was going to say. You have a navel.
Yeah, the Great Cosmic Mother, I'm going to keep it a buck. Like, I wasn't going to say it last year, but I'll say it now. This is actually one of the greatest books I ever read in my life. It actually is. Like, any sister that's listening to me, I need you to, if you got to reach out to me, whoever, get the Great Cosmic Mother. If I got to take a picture of all, 600 and... I'm just playing. I will do it. That's how bad our women need to read this. You need to know what the fuck was taken from you. You really do. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people talk about, another thing that this book locks in with, those Salem witch trials. Matter of fact, it wasn't just the women. Anything that was so-called great, if anything that possessed genetics that was greater than theirs were witches. It wasn't just women, and a lot of them were children. A lot of them were girls. You see what I'm saying? They really lock in on the Salem witch trials, information that you've never heard before. This book exposes the leader of the CIA. It tells you the construction of this entire system from micro to macrocosm. It starts from Paleolithic, Neolithic. Before these people were here, it talks about the caves, how the caves mimic the vaginal canal, how there's natural caves, I'm telling you, this book is fire. It's really fire. And when it gets to the patriarchal, because the first book, part 1 is matriarchy. Then it tells you about the fall to patriarchy, right? And the way that they talk about, like, even the Kundalini in here, the metaphors, the literary devices that they use. And I was reading some of the stuff out loud to Zell, and he was like, reptilians are close to this book. And they are. It's a lot of truth mixed good with the lie. I'm talking about good. Like, damn, you got to have some knowledge of self before you read this one. Because if you don't, you will be easily swindled. I ain't gonna lie. But, here's another thing the last thing that I highlighted in this book. It says America, the Earth's strongest military nation, had in 1979 over 25 million malnourished people and at least 10 million children who had never seen a doctor. In total, for 1979, in pounds per person, the world had more explosive power than food. America in 1979 had more explosive power than food. And we still trying to give energy to this system that doesn't center children. Everybody starts out as a child, right? So for every 100,000 people in the world, there are 556 soldiers, but only 85 doctors, right? And they say that male versus female was the first war. The book cooks. I ain't gonna lie. The book cooks. It talks about the Israeli Defensive Forces, how the first thing that they're handed is a GUN and a copy of the Old Testament. Talks about the National Secretary of the Moral Majority. This book exposes and debunks nuns and nunnery. Yeah, that's why I keep saying that feminism shit. Y'all keep trying to invite these women in on the conversation of matriarchy, but they womb's not working. So I want to know how that's going to go, because they're no longer having children. So matriarchy centers the womb, mother, matriarch, right? How are we going to add them in on the conversation when they don't center their children? They put their own men that don't even like them above their own children.
That they ran away from and created a whole island away from them.
Right. Then Branches said, does moon melanin? Yeah, we talked about that. It said that there's a map on the moon during a full moon phase. I believe it.
Yeah.
There's matter of fact, craters. The craters, but there's only one man. There's a question that was posed on Google, and it was like, has anybody been buried on the moon? And there's only one man that technically has. And basically he took his ashes to the moon, and the ashes are supposed to so-called be there. It was like his research group took his ashes to the moon. That's a ritual. You see what I'm saying? This nigga is the only one. And that man looks very